In the wintertime, it seems like I do a lot of no-start conditions, and today, of course, is no exception. We've got an E50 out right here. Is that what it is? Yeah, E50. No start condition. That's all I got. I don't know if it's a no crank, no start, bad battery, fuel problem. I have no idea. So let's go see what we got. Should be interesting. I like these no start conditions. They're always fun to troubleshoot and figure out what's going on. It seems like it's always something different. Sometimes they're easy, sometimes they're not. We do have a Kubota mechanical injected engine, so if these don't start, it's usually something pretty simple. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Let's see what we got. Glow plugs run for a little bit. It looks like the battery's good. That's good enough. So it turns over pretty good, but no smoke or anything, so it tells me that it's probably not getting fuel. This is the jet valve. It's a bleeder valve, and it was in the all the way open position. This needs to be closed unless we're priming it. I like to open it and then squeeze this primer ball and see if we get any fuel through it. So it doesn't look like I'm getting any fuel into the primer bulb. So I'm going to check the gauge, see what the gauge says. Well, gauge shows 3/4 of a tank, so it's probably got fuel in it. It's probably a pickup tube issue, but what I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to run this off of an auxiliary tank. I've got a couple cans of diesel in the truck. I'm just going to pull some fuel up into the system, get it charged up, warmed up, and make sure that it runs, get that battery charged up a little bit because it's weak. And then it's probably going to be a pickup tube in the tank maybe. That's kind of what I'm thinking, but I'm just going to see if I can get it started first. Okay, so I feel like I've got fuel up through the injection pump now. Let's see if it'll start and run. Let them glow plugs warm up one more time. Okay, well, it tried to start. I just ran out of battery. It's almost there. I guess because it was completely out of fuel, now we got to kind of get that air out of the injector lines, and I don't think I'm going to have to crack the injector lines. Let's just let these glow plugs warm up one more time. Oh, come on, baby. So it is running now, as we can hear, and what I did is I bypassed the lift pump. Just came straight off my primer bulb. I know this says hydraulic fluid, but this is clean diesel. I just filled up. I just needed a container for my diesel. But I like to use these little containers to kind of start machines like this. So it starts and it does run. That tells me there's probably a pickup tube issue. So now I got to get in underneath the floor plates and get to the fuel tank and see what we can find in there, because I could not get any fuel pulling from the tank. So now that I got this plate out of the way, you see we can get up to our pickup tube and our return line. It's a bigger tube on the pickup. That's how we know it's the pickup versus the return. So we're going to pop this out and see what we find. Try to get some of that dirt out from around it. So I don't see anything wrong with the pickup tube. It's not one of those hoses that that break off all the time. There's no cracks or anything in it. So I'm wondering if I've got some blockage inside this 90-degree fitting. That's usually what I'll find if I, just can't get fuel up through the tank. I always replace the grommet when I pop them out of the tank like that, so regardless, we're getting a new grommet. Well, I haven't fixed the problem yet, but it's running. So I know what it's not. I just got to get the other part fixed.
They ran it out of fuel, so I'm sure there's a nice air pocket or something.
Because I can't find anything on that side of the fuel system, so I was wondering if it ran out of fuel.
Yeah, it did.
Okay, and then that primer bulb's just not working very well.
Wow.
So now that I know that, I'm going to put it back together, get it primed for you, and it should be fine.
Just start right up there.
Yeah. That's what I was wondering. I was like, man, I can't find anything wrong. It had to have run out of fuel, so.
No, they did. They ran it right dry, and I was like, dude, you guys, I told
Yeah.
you about it,
Okay.
Some of these guys should just. Okay, I appreciate your help.
All right, no problem. Yeah, I'll get it primed up and you'll be good to go here in about 30 minutes. Okay, I didn't have the camera on me, but we should have got that audio where I just talked to the owner. He was just driving by. Because where the pickup tube is not broke, there was no blockage in this 90-degree fitting. Nothing was wrong. And usually when that happens, that's the case, is that they ran it out of fuel. And with that audio there, you can tell that his guys, they ran it out of fuel, and they just didn't know how to prime it back. Sometimes it's hard with that primer bulb to get it primed again. You got to know how to block off one side. The checks don't always work well in the primer bulb, and that's why I use these pliers, and I'll clamp off one side of the hose, squeeze the bulb, let go. It's just a seesaw effect, I guess, if you will, to kind of get that thing primed again. So now that I know it was out of fuel, I can get it all put back together, get the system primed, and get it running for them. And hopefully get out of this storm, man. It's coming in. You can see every second the wind's blowing harder and it's snowing even harder and harder. So let's try to get this put back together. Now, this is what happens when you leave your drawer open during a snowstorm. Anyways, not the first time that's happened. So I got it all put back together. But what I want to do is make sure that I get, you know, fuel all the way through that line up to the pump. So again, this is a jet valve, a bleeder valve. I'm going to leave it open. So turn to the left to open it. So what I want to do is, you know, the direction of flow is this way. So I want to squeeze the primer bulb, and then I'm going to pinch off the line in front of it, and that way it can't suck air back. Yes, the primer bulb has check valves. Do they always work? Well, obviously not. So don't always rely on the check valve. Make sure you pinch off the hose on the other side. Even if you replace the primer bulb, even brand new, it doesn't mean it's going to work properly. So I'll repeat this process for a minute or two until it gets firm and I know I've got fuel into the injection pump. Okay, that feels pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and close the jet valve and see if it'll start up and run now on its own. So yeah, it fired off instantly, but I'm going to let it run about 5 minutes or so, make sure we don't have any more air in the system. But that just goes to show that's in the wintertime, no starts, man. Sometimes they're easy, and luckily this one was easy. Sometimes they're hard, like I had yesterday. I had a pretty difficult one, but we did end up getting it fixed and get it running. So any questions on that, let me know. Thanks for watching.